Hey, everybody. So I'm going to post a really good picture of this so y'all can get your pipe cleaners down. This is the Unique in the Creek oval board. Give it a minute for y'all to screenshot. As y'all can see, the sign is from Shore Life Creations. So let's get started. So I did this a few years ago on a round board. I wanted to see what would happen if we did it on a oval board because it'll elongate the beard, which I think will look pretty cool. So let's get started. So I'm going to do the red first because we're not adding anything to this wreath. We're just going to use all mesh. Okay. And we have to go a certain way to do this to get our mesh to go all the right ways. I'm just using a value mesh from Hobby Lobby basically because we're not going to fluff this out. That's part of the charm of this. And absolutely you can use zip ties. I just used the different color pipe cleaners to do my pattern to show where my red is going to go versus where my white is going to go. All right. So for this, we need to start over here on our inside row, and then we need to go this way, come back this way to come this way to finish. So I'm going to get all my pipe cleaners out of the way from my center, from my very middle. So it's just basically, here it's 5 pipe cleaners before we cross over. So what we're going to do to start is I'm going to do 10-inch poofs. So this is going to be our first one. And it's 21 red pipe cleaners that I used. And it was 27 white. So you kind of don't want to gather like I normally do. I'm trying to wad my mesh up because I don't really want it to poof out. I want it to stay pretty wadded up. Because see, I don't want that, but we'll fix that. Said you can use zip ties, no problem, because we're not adding anything else in here. But for y'all to see my pattern and where I was going, that is why I chose to use pipe cleaners. Okay, so that was the first row, so now we're going to come over and we're coming to our second row, and then we're going to turn back and go the other way. If you want this lower to the board, you can just do 8-inch poofs. If you want to mark your pattern using zip ties, I know that you can get red ones at the Dollar Tree. And since you're only, the red ones are just the right length, since you're only putting a little bit of mesh in the zip tie. And they come in a multi-pack. So like I said, this is my first time doing it on the oval board. We'll see how it turns out. It's one of those things that in my mind, I think it'll look pretty cool when we're done. Probably look cooler if my hands would cooperate. My hands aren't cooperating with me today, y'all. A little bit of the... Oh, I accidentally got the wrong pipe cleaner. Hold on. Oopsie. Let's fix that. All right, so now we're ready to go back the other way. And you probably won't see the hat form too much until I actually put the white mesh on. So the reason that I chose to do 10-inch poofs was just in case 8-inch poofs didn't really work, because the oval frame has a little bit of gaps. But I'm using every hole along the way, so we shouldn't incur any gaps. But I wanted to give the illusion, like, you know, the peak at the top when you put the Santa hat over kind of thing. So I thought the oval board would work really well. And like I said, if you can do this on a round board also, because that's what I originally did it on. And you can do it using the character board. So this is where his hat's coming over the side. And that's also going to be our finish point with the red. And then we're going to take and pull our poofs back out of Santa's face, but we're not trying to fluff them. Because I'm going to take and wad this up really good and tuck it back. Like so. All right. Oops, that's the thing on my shirt. That was good. So with his beard, we don't have anything that we're going to use to be able to, which you'll see once I get up here and I add the white, you'll understand exactly what I'm explaining. Because we don't want it covering his face, okay? We're going to do 8-inch poofs. And once again, we're going to zigzag. We're going to go this way, that way. Wait a minute. No, this way, that way, and come this way. So this way, so this way. I'll get it. We're going to go this way first because we want to come back that way to go this way. So like I said, we're going to use smaller poofs to make sure his beard doesn't cover his face. All right, so now we're going to the next row, and it's right here. So this is probably the hardest row to do because you're having to push your mesh out of the way, but it's to really create the fullness of the beard. This was actually one of the cutest things that I ever did with just mesh. And the reason that I did this was because me personally, I didn't like the way that the beard looked with ruffles. It didn't look as realistic as a beard as I thought it could. So I wanted to amp it up. And because you're not really fluffing the mesh out and poofing out, you can use value mesh, which makes this a really inexpensive project. And the first time that I did it, I actually had to create my own face because it was before we were able to buy signs with faces on them. So now we're ready to go back the other way. Here's our pipe cleaner right here. So I can't remember how much I paid for the sign. Like I said, it came from Shore Life Creations. The ones that Betty had, I think, is 12 inch, so it was a little bit bigger. So it was a better size to me for the oval board. I hope y'all are seeing it more come to life now that I'm just about done with the beard. And you can also, if you want to, with the beard, you can use the yarn to make the beard. Instead, just use the red mesh to make the hat and then transfer over to the yarn for the beard. Just to give you some options. Oops. I realized I just measured that 10 inches. Alright, so now we're going to do the white part of the Santa hat. One more poof to get there. So the first time that I go across and pull across, what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a dam that's going to hold the red back. So I'm going to pull it fairly tight to stop it from poofing forward. And then we got to raise it up. So we're going to come back across again. Trying to make sure it's not going on his eyebrows. And then we're going to come over to the white, to a red pipe cleaner right next to it, because it's supposed to go all the way across his face, right? So now this time as we come across, I want to be a little bit more picky with my mesh. Kind of fold it up a bit. And we're going to skip past the white pipe cleaner where we made the dam, because this needs to come all the way across. And we're going to go to the red pipe cleaner right behind the white one. And that's going to make our dam and our kind of like looking like the fur on the hat. So for appearance reasons, I'm gonna kind of poof some of these out to fill in. Not to cover Santa or anything like that, because that's not what we want to do. But to cover these gaps right here. So I'm just getting the ones on the outside, basically, and I'm going to pull them sideways. Is that it's just to fill the gaps in. See how that's starting to round out? We're not seeing the gaps. That's what I'm doing. And you can do this with smaller 8-inch poofs with the hat. You might want to double up on your poofs a little bit. Just to really fill it out. Now see? Okay, so we're going to come down here. We're going to kind of do the same thing to the beard. On the bottom, poof these out. Just a little bit to give it a little floofiness. But I don't want to do the ones close to the face because we don't want it running over the face. So we're just doing the ones like on the bottom to fill the gaps in a little bit. And I'm going to do the next row just to give it a little bit more filler. And I'm intentionally pulling the poof to go sideways and almost lay flat. I'm not going up, I'm going this way when I'm pulling. The poofs apart because I kind of want them to lay down and fill in. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is I want to add a little something to it to kind of fluff it up a little bit and to make it look like fur. And this is a personal choice if you want to do it. That stuff comes in really, really handy. And this is actually a good way to use your oddball ornament balls if you've got one left, which I do, and it really doesn't have a place. Is I'm going to use this for Santa's ball on his hat. I really need to glue that together. Why do they even make it so these will come apart? Does anybody know? I have never been able to figure that out. Like, why? What's the purpose? Why do ornament balls need to come apart? Alright, I'll glue that on later so I can secure. Actually, well, no, let me get a bigger one. We're gonna get a bigger ornament ball. That really wasn't big enough. It wasn't foofy enough. Now let's do one with personality. Why not? I'll plug in my hot glue gun while we put on the fur, and then we'll put the ornament ball on. Maybe we can cluster up 3 of these to get them to be big enough. This stuff is the balm, some chunky yarn, and we're going to use this to make it look like the fur. On the hat. I'm just going to go back and forth till I like the way it looks. And I think just one more time to really fill the top of the hat in. To really look like a furry top. Tuck that red under there. There we go. Much better. And now to solve the ball problem. I have a red one with white, but it doesn't look. It's white. When plan A, B, and C don't work, yeah, that'll work. What I'm going to do to get this in here, because I have so much pipe cleaners, I'm going to go ahead, because I'm going to cut these off anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut one off, because I don't need that much pipe cleaner to attach this down through the hole. Anyway. And then when we're done, we're just going to run through and clip pipe cleaners. Like I said, this would probably be like awesome with zip ties. I chose not to use zip ties so you could see what I'm doing. Once again, you can get, I know, red zip ties that are a perfect size to do this at the Dollar Tree. They come in a multi-pack. I can't remember if there's clear ones in there for the white, but I do know about the red. I've used them before, so that you'll be able to put your zip ties in first to create your pattern to follow. And what I used here once again was 27 white and 21 red. And of course, if you use zip ties, you kind of clip as you go. And if you use pipe cleaners, now I did it long because of how my hands are hurting, but you can actually clip your pipe cleaners in half and you'll have plenty. So you don't have to use a full pipe cleaner like I do, but with my hands hurting, it's difficult for me to get a hold of things, so I left them long. So it really only took about 30 minutes to do this, so it's a quick, easy, good craft show project. You can take and decorate the hat up a little bit with a little bit of holly. To give it a little extra something to it. Don't do like I did. You might want to clip your pipe cleaners before fluffing. So I actually created extra work for myself. And you can also just tuck them in and nobody will ever see them. Instead of having to really reach in there like I did, you can just go like this and tuck them down to the frame like this. Santa Claus is coming to town. Alright, y'all. I hope y'all really enjoyed this. Like I said, super cute. And I do like the way that this turned out on the oval frame. There's all kinds of things that you can actually do with this. I can't wait to see what y'all do. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Bye, y'all.